Quitting is the easiest thing that you can do in life, because it doesn't take character, it doesn't take anything to quit. It takes a willingness to walk away. And the more you begin to quit, the more it begins to define your life. That's not for you. The defining thing, or the defining moment of your life, is when you decide to quit quitting, to never give up, to never give in, to never again allow yourself to feel so overwhelmed that quitting is your best option. You have to decide that I would rather fight than flight.
The key is to be constantly in a perpetual process of discovering the truth of who you are and fighting constantly to look for ways in which you can escape the inner conversation.
Wherever you are right now, it's just temporary, young people. You ain't gonna get here without an effort. You just gotta try. I failed more times than anybody in here. I promise you I have.
I don't think that as a participant in life, you cannot be committed. You're either committed to mediocrity or you're committed to greatness. You're either committed to being productive or you're committed to being non-productive. You're committed to being happy or you're committed to being unhappy. See, whatever you're doing, however you spend your time, that tells you who you are.
Have to be willing to let go of the thing that wants to hold you prisoner. Most of us have stayed in the jail cell of a mental prison long beyond the years of our sentencing. Because our thing is, we have only known pain. And we have feared that pleasure will never be something you can possess. But your fear must come in conflict with your faith. Your faith is that you can become more because you have deserved better. And that the thing that came against you is not greater than the thing that is inside you.
Don't give up. Don't let the world get you down. When it does get you down, get up and write what you want out of your life and don't fucking stop. You know what I'm saying? You get up every fucking day, you look in the mirror and you tell that mirror, I'm a bad motherfucker.
There's far more to you than you think, because it turns out that you have substantial problems, genuine, deep, but that if you decide that you will take that on as your responsibility, that you can put yourself together psychologically, just the courage, and you can actually solve the problems. Dark as things are, there's more light in you than you know what to do with, and there's more light in you than you can possibly manifest, and the way to find that out is to challenge yourself against these massive problems and to find out that you're the one that can deal with them.
You will have good days and you'll have bad days, but you will always learn something more or something new on bad days than good days.
The problem that most of us have is we think that we're all alone. We think that we're the only ones going through all this stuff. I thought it. Your vision becomes very narrowed. And what happened to me was, all I did was I peeled back. And I was able to get on top of a mountaintop in my head. And when you're high on that mountain, you have a great vantage point. And I was able to look down at the world. And all of us are jacked up. Some of us hide it better than others, but we're all jacked up. And once you realize that, you got to come out of your shell. You got to accept who you are. You got to accept the demons that life gave you. Whoever gave them to you, you got to accept that. You got to be able to look them in the mirror, look them in the eye, and say, okay, I'm going to start fixing these things. But if you think that you're by yourself, the reality of your life becomes very, very horrible. And you're not. We are all jacked up. And once you realize that, man, it's like whatever. You don't even look at the crowd anymore. You look at your own race, you do your own race, you do your own thing, and you finally find out who you're supposed to be in this life.
Every visionary was initially called crazy before they were revered. The very nature of disrupting your industry and disrupting a very bored and exhausted and hate-filled world means there will be people who will throw rocks at you. Take the rocks your haters throw at you and build them into monuments of mastery that are a testimony to humanity.
They print money, they don't print time. They don't print opportunities. You can lose money and get it back. You can't get time back. You can't get experiences back. Average people focus on money. The greats focus on time.
5 easy steps, 10 steps to greatness, 8 steps to this. And those steps for success, they're infinite. They are infinite. You cannot count them. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. Those steps are constantly shifting. You don't know if they're there. Sometimes you have to trust that the next step is going to be there when you can't even see it. And sometimes when you step on that step, you go right into quicksand. But you got to be able to pull yourself back out of it again. So everybody's looking for these steps, and there are no steps. Those steps never end. And you just can't climb steps.
Once you stop giving it, once you stop showing up for them, once you decide not to be used no more, once you decide to choose you, you're going to see how they really feel about you. You're going to see who really loves you for you, because most people, once you choose you, their love disappears. Some of you at a job that only loves you for what you bring to the job. As soon as you ask for a raise, as soon as you ask for a day off, you're replaced. And the thing that I want to tell you, this is so many of us, we hide our true selves from the world because we're so afraid to be judged. We're so afraid that people will walk out of their life. We're so afraid to lose this and lose that. I'm going to tell you something. I want you to hear me clear. When you don't be who you are, when you don't truly be yourself and who you are, you know what happens in your life? You attract the wrong things in your life.
To motivate actually means to provide a motive, a reason why. So to motivate someone is to explain to them why they're doing what they're doing, how it will help them, where it'll take them, why they should continue to work and to struggle and to fight. And when you need motivation yourself, don't look for someone to scream and yell. Don't look for someone else to give you motivation. Look at yourself. Look at yourself and remind yourself why you are doing what you are doing.
Many of us have genius within us. But when it comes to us, when it comes to using our genius in our own behalf, taking the chance with our own creativeness, acting on our own dreams and ideas, somewhere along the line we get paralyzed. We find some reason not to do it. Oh, I did that. I'm not as good as they are. I don't have their education.
As long as I don't stop trying, it is not failure. It is temporary defeat. And the path to success, the path to fulfillment, the path to happiness is filled with temporary defeats. The path to sadness, the path to regret is filled with failure. Men and women who failed and gave up instead of gotten up and tried again and looked at it as temporary defeat.
How many of you had some situations that you were in that you were overwhelmed with fear? You didn't know how you're going to come out, how you're going to survive, and you did. You survived and you didn't die. So what you got to do, whatever that was, whatever that state of consciousness, whatever that self-confidence that you had, however you stood up within yourself, here's what we know. You survived. Here's what we know. You're still here. You didn't die. You're here right now. You got it and you handled that fear. You kicked it out of there.
Like, we all know what the right thing is, but it's easy to adopt a take it easy mindset and then succumb to balance. But there's no one that I know that takes it easy or has balance and lives a lifestyle of freedom. There just simply isn't. Everyone that I know sets themselves up for higher expectations.
Dark side is something that's in everybody, but it's a situation that you have to control the dark side. If it controls you, that's when things start to go real bad. That's when you have a tendency to go to what I call the other side. But if you harness the fuel that's from that dark side, whether it's anger, whether it's fear, and turn that into positive fuel, it'll help you really succeed at whatever you're trying to do.
Never forget the people that played a part in you getting in this position. Never forget what you're made out of. But on the road to success, on the road to accomplishment, on the road to evolving and development, if the game of break goes against you in life, the only favor I ask of you, because in life, people don't burn out, people don't quit, and people don't underachieve because of what they do. People burn out, people quit, and people underachieve because life makes them forget why they do it. And so the only favor I ask of you, if the game of break of life go against you, don't let up.
And life is the same. The enemy is not always clear in life. It can be hard to tell who's going to try and bring you down, or what is going to bring you down. There's distractions. There are things out there that will do you harm that are so camouflaged you can't see them at all. There are deceitful people. There are accidents, bad luck, and there's Murphy's Law, and there's times when it seems that the whole world is against you. The whole world is the enemy, and the same rules apply. Control what you can control. You train hard, learn, maintain the unmitigated daily discipline in all things.
No matter what comes against me, I'm gonna keep going. No matter what tries to stop me, I'm gonna keep being unstoppable. You have to make that decision and stay dedicated to that. Because when you have that, when you made up your mind that says, all right, coach, you don't have to play me. I'm still going hard. I'm gonna still control what I can control. All right, boss, you ain't gotta promote me. I'm still gonna go hard. All right, teacher, you can treat me this way. I'm still showing up. Okay, friend and ex, you can talk about me all you want. I'm still gonna do what I do. When you got that mindset and your mind is made, can't nothing stop you. Nothing. What have you been given permission to?
See, when you begin to understand and acknowledge your fear, and you go forth anyhow, you go forth in a spirit and a knowing that there's a way that you can begin to handle this. There's a way out here somewhere. There's a solution for what it is that you're seeking, that you have the capacity to whatever comes up, to handle it, to face it. And rather than feeling powerless, you begin to feel powerful. But there are few people who have decided within themselves, I'm going to make it. Some people aren't waiting to be cut. Some people are moving on their own because they feel within themselves, I've got what it takes to make it.
Most of us are only 1 to 10% away from greatness. But we think we're so far away from it that we never try. And once I started going down this journey, I started realizing that, and those percents started to add up. And before I knew it, my mind started hardening, and I started passing so many different people that I thought were so far above me. And then before I knew it, man, I became a common amongst the uncommon.
Don't ever again, from this day forward, when you're learning something that's valuable, when you're making a decision of something you're going to do, when you set a goal, in that moment, you got to do something that commits you to follow through later on. Because if you act on it while you're in state and you commit to something and you do something that commits you later on, you'll keep the momentum. Because if you keep changing, you'll find the way.